It's Wednesday, March the 29th. Lake level's really on the rise. Right now it's 9, 10 and a half. It's come up a little over 3.5 feet in the last 4 days. And it's probably going to continue to rise. They're not pulling it real hard. It's raining all around us, and we got at least another full day, maybe two of rain on and off. So it depends on how much they let out, but it's definitely going to keep coming up. Seems to be coming up about a ½ inch an hour. The water temperature it's been anywhere from 55 to 60 degrees. It cooled off a little bit this weekend. The temperature did, so it cooled the water temperature down. But right before I did my last fishing report last week, I was starting to see some fish move up and make beds. I'm kind of glad that water cooled down a little bit. I just hope the lake kind of stabilizes before them fish really start to spawn hard. It's not going to be good if they're trying to spawn and the lake's rising real fast. It won't be a real successful spawn. But anyways, with the bite that's going on, a lot of what was happening is still happening. There's still a lot of fish out there fairly deep or over the deep water. And that seems to be where the quality bites are coming from. We're throwing swim baits, underspins, but they seem to be on, main lake, secondary points, some in the center of the guts, a lot of them around docks, but on the deeper docks. And they're anywhere from 10 to 20 foot deep. And a lot of the same baits that, I've talked about for the last few weeks, but we're throwing some small swim baits. This little 2.8 Kitech, and you can throw a little 4-inch grub behind it as well as the Kitech. The little underspin is working good on light line. And also the heavier 1/2 ounce and 5/8 underspins are working as well. You just got to kind of mix it up to see which one's working the best. Now, if you're fishing shallow, I've been catching some fish on crankbait. A lot of fish on the little swim baits, on flat gravel points, inside the spawning pockets. But most of those seem to be just keepers. The better fish are still kind of staged out a little deeper. Now, all this water coming in is going to change everything up quite a little bit. Now, the main lake down to the dam, like say from Baxter from about 0.9 to the dam, that water is going to stay pretty good shape for several days. The rivers are muddy. The Kings River, Long Creek, the James, Flat Creek, a lot of mud coming into the lake. Now, that's going to open up a whole new deal, especially with the water temperature. A lot of the fish should move up with the water, the ones that are shallow. And the thing that's going to come into play, I think, is a spinnerbait. It's going to come into play real well. But I would not fish the real muddy water until it's kind of stabilized out for a few days. And once they get some sunshine on it, that stained water is going to go crazy temperature-wise. There's going to be a 5 to 8 degree temperature change from the clear water to the stained water once these fronts get through and the sun gets out. But, you can go, even down lake down by the dam. Some of those arms there are starting to get mudded up. But if you go far enough back where the water's coming in, the water is actually clearing up in the very backs. Now, what I would do is I would go all the way to the backs and fish where it's fairly clear or stay kind of ahead of the mud line. And that's if you're going to do the swim baits, the little Kitechs. That definitely seems to work better in the clearer water. I don't think that's going to work as well in an area where you had been catching them. And if the water muddies up, I don't think it's going to work as well. It's more of a clear water deal. But I think what's going to come into play quite a little bit is spinnerbaits. And I'm just going to show you a few that I usually throw when the conditions get like this. This is one that's real popular when we get, high, muddy water coming in. And it's a coleslaw. It's a war eagle. I usually throw a 3/8 or 1/2 ounce. Got white blades. Another one I'll throw, this is also a war eagle, but it's got an Indiana blade, and it's got an orange kicker blade, which a little Colorado blade up front. Seems to work real good in the springtime. And this bait, will give off a lot of, with the bigger blades, will give off a lot of thump. So if you're fishing extremely dirty water, that vibration of that blade will help the fish find the bait. And chartreuse and white will work good, but also this same colored skirt on this setup here will work good. Just like this one. It's a coleslaw skirt with a big old Colorado thumper blade. Really good for the muddy water. Now also, down in the clear water, the Ned rig's working good. And I think it just depends what happens with the water temperature. I mean, we're only about a week away, especially if the sun will come out with this stained water. The fish just really going to the banks. There's still, like I said, a lot of the better fish are still out over the deeper timber, staging to come in. If it gets muddy in those areas, I think those fish are going to be harder to catch. You're not going to be able to catch them like you was the day before. And that's still a day-to-day thing. I mean, there's some days I don't always catch the quality fish. Some days I have to go up to the bank and get the numbers of fish. But a lot of them seem to be male. There are a lot of fish from 13 to 16 inches that are up there in that 5 to 10 feet. But like I say, a lot of things are going to change with the water coming up. Even if it stops raining, I think we're still going to see the lake come up another 1.5 or 2 because we've got so much rain around the area, and they're not generating much water. They are letting some out, but not very much. I think probably because the lake's been so low, they're going to let it get up to close to the power pool before they worry about letting too much out. So next week or so is going to be kind of interesting. A lot of different things are going to be changing. So don't be afraid to mix it up. Like I say, it's the time of year where almost any lure you got in your boat will work if you throw it in the right place. The key is, trying to figure out what that right place is. So until next week, good luck, good fishing.